Let me tell you something. And some of the PNM, living in ignorance or pretending you don't know or not reading or not caring does not make your position correct. So some 2 PNM say, so when you was there, what you do? You do nothing. Oh yes, really? When Kamala Prasad Bisesa was in government, the United National Congress in Sport, we not only built facilities and prepared 89 grounds across the country for utilization by children. We not only removed the fees for citizens to utilize their stadia for themselves, whether it's college league and so on. We increased the NPI vote from 10 million a year to 140 million a year. We increased funding across the board to give more access to associations so that they can also pay for coach certification and education. We kept the facilities maintained and upgraded. The tracks were certified for Olympic qualification, certified 1A. There were 4 gyms that were world-class Olympic elite cross-training gyms that were maintained, that are all dilapidated now. There were 75 sports development officers and a coaching caravan that will go out in every nook and cranny and share science, share knowledge. We formed relationships with UE Spec and sponsored all of their programs and their training for coaches across the board. We also increased funding to the Olympic Committee and sponsored and helped them fund their coach education and certification program across the board in every sport. We approved a cabinet note to have Chinese coaches there for diving, synchronized swimming, archery, table tennis, hockey, and 2 other sports. We ensured that children at primary school would have coaches, PE teachers that were on the pathway to being certified. The coach association was being formed. A semi-professional league in netball with indoor air-conditioned courts was being planned and was just waiting the sanction from the PNM Netball Association, and that was left wanting, so that plan was put on hold. Across the board, we had every Easter and summer holidays, June, July, August, camps for over 21,000 children, including the differently abled children. We increased funding for Special Olympics coaching, training, sociologists, psychologists, and so on. TT Pro League got funding increased from $2 million up to $18 million, including payments monthly to the clubs to have physios trained, PTI trained, technicians, trainers, and so on. Across the board, we were improving situations and a lot for our athletes. We had talent identification scouts out there. We were going to make students out in the USA and so on, sport ambassadors, to encourage people from the universities during the winter months to come to Trinidad and Tobago to make here the hub of sports science. I passed the anti-doping law in 2013 with unanimous support in both houses. The PNM has left the anti-doping legislation languishing. It is not there. We have no TADO, we have no drug testing, we have no education. We have men in gym fat shaming women and so on while taking steroids and playing like they are health and wellness. Trinidad and Tobago is in a complete mess because we are rudderless and leaderless in sport. So when I see my children go out there giving their heart and soul, and from the onset when I see warm up and standing up for the anthem, I know we have no chance, because the Canadian children were better prepared. They were more scientifically prepared. They were fitter. They were stronger. They had greater lean muscle mass. They were tested. They were a unit. They had more time together. They played more practice matches. Our children and sportsmen under the PNM have to go into a competition and play matches against big teams the same day as soon as they land, because they had no money, because they cut the NPI vote back from 140 million back down to 10 million. So all your PNM, sit down there and just try to lie. No matter how much you lie, it's not the truth. PNM, Rowley, Champa don't care about sport. They don't even know. They just put you there so they don't have to support you, the athletes, the parents, and so on. And that must stop. Elections are serious things. As I say that, and next one, I see Brian Lewis. Brian Lewis, this one here. This PNM who screened for Port of Spain South and lost to the bike man, the coal pot man, the strong man, Mr. Scotland, who's a big lawyer, they ain't telling about senior counsel. He can't get to act one day. This PNM man, hear what he have the audacity to say. TTFA, Trinidad and Tobago Football Association election must be free and fair, says a PNM, you know. Within recent months and within increasing frequency in the past weeks, I was approached to consider agreeing to be on a slate. Yes, some PNM slate to put you on a slate to do what? You're a total failure at the Olympic Committee. You're a failure when you jump into the PNM without ever talking the truth about the UNC or Anil as minister or what occurred. And I didn't go through the list. I have more things to talk about. It's not whole night I could go and big up myself and what I did as minister of sport. I didn't even talk about the Spirit of Sport Awards, which recognize all sorts of sporting achievements, whether massage therapist, media photographer, coaches, grassroots team sport, individual sport, young athlete, junior athlete, promising at let me stop here. But this one say the elections in the TTFA must be free and fair. But Brian Lewis, what about national elections? Should they be free and fair? Should the head of the EBC be the niece of a former sitting PNM minister and the best friend of the current Minister of Education and deputy political leader of the PNM? Her best friend from St. Augustine Girls? Is that fair, Brian Lewis? Didn't hear you say anything. Is this fair? Is that a fair election? That this lady friend is in charge of it? You're talking about free and fair. Oh no, but it's a PNM. So that is fair. And that makes sense to you? When you have your partner Asim Basarat in cricket talking about elections and they start off with 13 votes and the race is to 25. How that could be fair? I never heard you. They went to you as Olympic Committee to arbitrate and so on. Look, Asim PNM Basarat. And when you talk that, here Basarat, is a good thing you put him up there. This PNM man, Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board zones now send pre-action protocol letter to stop action against a whistleblower. Well, Basarat is a real PNM because PNM just hung down and fight down and scare and vilify whistleblowers. That's the PNM way. So here, let me hear what this is now. So members of the Cricket Association, the cricket fraternity, sending a pre-action protocol letter to stop this man and his administration from hounding down a whistleblower. Remember, we saw reports of 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 missing and all kind of things, check signing, man signing, check by themselves for themselves and so on. The TNT Cricket Board was sent a pre-action protocol letter on behalf of the members of 3 zones, the Central, the Southwest and the North zones on Monday, ahead of tomorrow's controversial motion of no confidence against TTCB Treasurer Kishwa Chaitu do he work. And them calling a motion against Chaitu. You understand? This man is real PNM boy. That's why you find your home in Balize House. Send some cricket bat up there to finish off the Balize House that they hide in now. As we talk about that football, actually, you know what? I'm going and I just hit me. I'm going and organize something to deal with that. Because across the board in every sport, I was just watching my daughter play tennis and I was watching netballers practice and basketball competition going on there at the courts by Mandela Park, and I was watching volleyball on one side and a little baseball and so on. And I'm looking at all these young athletes and they're dreaming of greatness. They're dreaming of achieving brilliance with red, white, and black. And unfortunately, the systems, the pathways, the knowledge is not there so that their dreams could come to fruition. In other words, we have our children dreaming and there's a 0% chance of success. That's not good. A dream, they must have a percentage, some form, some percentage that it could happen. And in order to do that, we have to get pathways. We have to identify talent. We have to educate parents on what needs to be done. Coaches need to understand what sport, how do you get sport specific, how you cross train, what you do, how you monitor, how you build on each macro cycle, how you do a quadrennial plan if you have Olympic sports and so on, how you prepare for Carifta moving into CCCAN, Central America, into CAC Games, Pan American Games, Commonwealth Games, World Indoor, World Outdoor, World Short Course, into Olympics, how you get there, what are the pathways, whether it's university, how do you become a student athlete, what is necessary, how does diet play into it, how does psychological training and mental development and mental preparation fit in simultaneously with physical preparation. Archie, I go do something. We will do something. We have to be dream catchers. We have to catch the children's dreams and allow them to ferment, allow them to blossom into possible success. You may not always hit your dream goal, but along the way are many other steps that are successful. So Archie, I go do up something with dream catchers to help the children and the athletes and the parents across Trinidad and Tobago, because there's a dearth of education, a dearth of coaching, a dearth of science. To see my footballers go out there with no chance to beat Canada was really sad. Good night.